Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World. Today we're diving into the natural beauty and culture mix of Belize. Whether it's beach life in Caye Caulker, or jungle adventures, or food favorites, oh my goodness, that spiny lobster is so good. We've packed it all in the tips, don'ts, and travel advice to help you out. So let's begin 100-ish hours of Belize. And my first don't for you when you come to Belize is don't freak out about the crime statistics. Look, when people are coming to Belize, one of the biggest things they search is Belize safe? I actually have a whole video on that. And the thing is, what you should know is, yes, Belize has issues, and when you look at the crime statistics, they do seem high, but for you as a tourist, where you're gonna be here, Caye Caulker, going to San Pedro, maybe in San Ignacio to do some of the adventure stuff up there in the zip line and the Mayan ruins, you're not gonna have too many issues when you're here. I know for us, we felt pretty safe when we were here. Now, of course, having said that, you do need to take precautions, not getting super drunk and staying out late nights, making sure that you're locking your stuff up and things like that, not making yourself a target. These kind of things will help, but in general, don't think this is a super dangerous place like the numbers say. Now, having said that, you don't want to really spend a lot of time in Belize City, or like they'll tell you, like in the southern part of Belize City, because that's where a lot of the really bad crime is, okay? So I want to get that one out of the way. Now, my second don't for you is when you actually do come here and you want to enjoy yourself, don't get in a hurry. Look, I know here I'm on the island, so it's on island time. The thing is that island time kind of goes through the whole country, okay? So you need to have a lot of patience when you're here. After a few days, you kind of get used to it, but the first few days, you're like, could you be a little quicker? Could I get a menu? Could I order my food? Where's my drinks? What's going on? It kind of get frustrating, and you'll see signs like here on Caye Caulker, their whole motto is go slow. They'll let you know, hey, go slow, relax, man, it's okay. You've got time, and you got to have that kind of mental attitude when you're here. Otherwise, you might get a little frustrated. And so when you do get that beer when you're here, or maybe you get a Coke or the red Fanta, which tastes like Inca Cola, which is really good, you're going to see a napkin inside of it. A little quick don't for that is don't forget to use that napkin to wipe the top of your glass bottle off before you enjoy that Belican, one of the local beers, your lighthouse, stuff like that. Okay, just a don't for you for a little stuff. Also, if you are sitting down at a restaurant, you'll see there's restaurants, and then if you're on the beaches or you're in town, you'll see restaurants that are like on the side of the road or on the side of the beach with just somebody grilling up, and maybe there's just a hut where they're putting the stuff together. Don't be scared to eat at those places. They're just as good as some of the normal restaurants, and the thing is, those are usually a lot cheaper, so that can be a good budget option for you when you do come here. And you still get the great food like the grilled lobster and the coconut shrimp and the stewed chicken and the jerk chicken and all those good things. You can still get those things there. Now, another don't I guess I should let you know not to be worried about is don't worry if you don't know where Belize is. A lot of people don't know where Belize is. It's okay. Basically what Belize is, it's on the side of Guatemala, right underneath Mexico in Central America. Really, it's a small piece of land. There's only like 350,000 people, maybe 400,000 people here at a time with the tourists and stuff. So it's actually a really sparsely populated country, but it's just this little tiny piece of country that's actually it only became like fully independent in 1981. So, it's relatively new, relatively tiny country for you to enjoy, okay? So don't worry about that. Another don't I have for you is don't think that you have to speak Spanish to come here. When I've talked to people about going to Guatemala or Mexico or Nicaragua, I'm like, look, don't forget to make sure you brush up on your Spanish. Here in Belize, you don't have to, because English is the official language of Belize. So all the signs are in English. You ask people questions in English, they respond to you in English. It's no big deal. Now, a lot of people do speak Spanish, or they might speak some more Creole, but you'll be fine with English when you go around, which can be a lot more calming for a lot of people when they do travel if they don't speak Spanish, okay? So you'll have a fun time with that. Now, having said that, another don't I might say is don't think that they'll always understand everything you say, and don't think you'll always understand everything they say. Even if they are speaking English, there might be some Creole in there, there might be a little Spanish words here and there. There could be some misunderstandings, so just make sure you kind of take your time. Remember, go slow, and you'll catch on just fine, okay? Now, when you are here, whether you're gonna go visit the Mayan ruins, or you're gonna be coming here to the beaches and stuff like that, there's a couple of don'ts I have for you. One, don't forget your bug spray, because my God, the bugs can be really, really bad when you're here. And also, don't forget to bring some sunblock, because yes, if you're on the beach here, you're going out snorkeling, of course you think, oh yeah, I'm gonna snorkel. I don't want my back to turn red like a lobster and people cook me on those grills. the thing is when you're going to the Mayan ruins and you're walking around, you're in the open and the sun is beating down, and we're closer to the equator here, so those beams are a lot stronger, so you can get burned very easily. So don't forget those two things, all right? Now my next few don'ts actually going to deal with more here on the Keys and on the beaches and stuff like that. And I'm going to say is don't skip snorkeling or scuba diving if you can do it. I mean, even if you can't snorkel very well or you can only swim, you can snorkel. We went out with our 2 kids and my wife and I, we went out and did snorkeling. My youngest, he doesn't swim too well. They put a vest on him and he got to snorkel around for 3 hours, and it was awesome. And if you get that chance, go out to that barrier reef. It's the 2nd largest barrier reef in the world. You can go there, snorkel along it, see things. It is just fantastic, okay? And the thing is, I will say one thing. If you're going to go scuba diving or snorkeling, my next don't is don't lie or misrepresent your kind of knowledge about snorkeling or scuba diving, because that can be dangerous, okay? So if you don't swim very well, let them know. They're happy to help you, like get a life jacket and stuff like that. If you don't know how to snorkel, let them know that. Like, I've never really snorkeled before. I've only snorkeled in the swim pool with my kids. That's okay. They will help you so you can have a good time when you are out there. And the thing is, I'm bringing this up because a lot of times, if you're going to be doing some of these tours, going out to the snorkeling or scuba diving or going in the canyons and stuff like that, there's going to be multiple different tours out there. And my don't for that is, don't think every tour company is the same. You need to do your research for the tour companies here, because some are going to be more geared towards younger travelers and some will be geared more towards family travelers or eco-friendly travelers and stuff like that, okay? Because I've met people that have done similar tours than us. Like, we did the snorkeling, it was more eco-based. They showed us all the animals and the fish and the eels and the barracudas and stuff like that, and the sharks and rays and all that. But then another guy I met, he was on more of the young focused one, so they did the snorkeling and then they had 2 hours of rum drinking on the way back, and it was like, okay, there's a very different atmosphere. So definitely do your research. Don't just sign up for a tour right away, okay? Though the prices will be pretty similar to everybody, the experience can be very different. And another thing is, when you're on the barrier reef, another don't I have for you is don't take anything from the reef. Don't take any of the fish, obviously. Don't take any of the coral. Don't take any of the shells that are out there. That's a protected thing, so don't take those. Also, don't swim over top of the coral, because there are the waves there and they may lift you up and slam you down on the coral. And if anybody's ever gotten that happen to them, it is not a fun experience, okay? So don't mess around on the coral. Now, my last little scuba and snorkeling don't I have has to do with the blue hole. Now, if you've seen any videos or any pictures or any tourism, anything about Belize, they always show the blue hole. It's a sinkhole that goes down in the middle of the Caribbean. You can go see. It's a couple-hour boat ride from here in Caye Caulker. You can go there and it's just really, really cool to see. But the thing is how the waters and stuff like that, you don't expect to see a ton of wildlife there, because there's not as much you're going to see in other parts. So don't feel that you have to take the helicopter ride out there, or don't feel like you need to go out there to really enjoy snorkeling and scuba. You can do it here, whether in San Pedro or here in Caye Caulker or other places. You can do a closer thing than doing that. So don't feel that you have to pay way up to go out to the blue hole. Now, unless you want to go and do like to check mark, oh, I did the bucket list, I dove at the blue hole, that's a whole other thing. But just for like a normal everyday person, maybe save your money and just go on one of the short cruises out to here and go snorkeling on the reef. Now, when you come back from your snorkeling, or maybe when you're coming back from your hikes or your tubing and stuff like that through the caves, if you're up near the Guatemalan border, all these kind of cool things, or in the ATM cave and doing those things, you're going to come back and you're going to relax, right? And the thing is, you'll see people walking around relaxing as well with a drink in their hand. The next don't I have for you is don't worry about walking around with your alcohol. Now, don't walk around with a bottle of vodka, of course, but here in Belize, you can actually walk around with a plastic cup or like an aluminum can, like a can of beer. You can walk around with that. You're okay. Glass bottles are big no-nos, okay? You can get in trouble with that, okay? So don't worry too much about the alcohol when you walk around, but don't have the glass bottles. Another thing I've noticed is when you're walking around in some of the villages or some of the beach resorts and stuff like that, you're going to smell a little wacky tobacco, okay? And what I'm going to tell the tourists and tell anybody here is, don't think just because you smell the wacky tobacco, it means you can smoke it here, okay? Because they actually have some pretty strict drug laws here in Belize, and you're a foreigner, so you're the one that's going to get in trouble, and you can go and visit the only the only prison they have here in Belize, okay? And I don't think you want to do that, so try to stay away from that, because I have seen some people get in trouble for that, so just be careful, okay? Now, I know I've alluded to this before, but I want to make sure I stress this on another note, and that is, don't think that Belize is just beaches and snorkeling and scuba diving. Oh, no, no. This country has a lot more than that. The Mayan ruins that are here, Caye Caulker, you can go there. This huge Mayan complex, you can go and explore, and there's Mayan ruins actually sprinkled throughout the country. I mean, there's 350,000 people maybe here in Belize, I think, and there used to be 1 million Mayans here. So there's a lot of stuff all over the country you can check out, and you can sign up for tours in different places to go there and explore it. Also, if you want to have some adventure tourism, if you want to go cave tubing, yes, you can ride tubes through caves. It's pretty cool. You want to go spelunking, you can do that. Go to the ATM cave and do some really cool stuff there. There's all kinds of really good adventure stuff. You want to do some biking, hiking, all kinds of things. There's a lot more than just beaches here in Belize. So make sure you get out and explore more. Now the thing is, when you're out exploring and you're seeing like the Mayan ruins and you're going on your hikes and stuff like that, you might see some signs that are like, hey, watch out for the jaguars and stuff. Look, don't think you're gonna see jaguars when you're here. You will see quite a few animals when you're here, but the jaguars you don't see too often. So if you do, that's really kind of a cool thing. But what I'm going to tell you is don't mess with the animals, okay? Their version of a raccoon here looks pretty cool, but it will scratch you up and get you, and you need to be very careful with that, okay? So don't mess with the animals when you're here. Now, another thing is when you're looking for accommodation here in Belize, a lot of people like to go, oh, I'd like to get my Hilton points or my Marriott points or things like that. My next don't for you is, don't think you're going to find any chain hotels or heck, even chain restaurants here in Belize. A lot of it is just small, independent hotels, resorts, stuff like that here. So you're going to have to do a lot more research when you're looking for accommodation here in Belize. Okay, it took us some time to find some. Actually, for us, in the second place we're at here in Caye Caulker, we actually have 2 rooms for the 4 of us because we had to split up because it was hard to find a place that would take all 4 of us. So you want to make sure you're booking early to find accommodation, okay? Now, when you are staying here, my next don't for you, which is kind of cool, is don't worry about exchanging money if you're coming from the US. They actually accept the US dollar as currency here in Belize, which is really cool. You can also use the Belizean dollar, which is actually pegged 2 to 1 to the US dollar. And so when we go places, sometimes we'll pay part in US dollar, part in Belizean dollar. They might give change back in dollars or Belizean dollars and stuff like that. You can have that. It's really nice. And the thing is, cash is kind of king here. And I know when I did my research before I came here, all the websites made it sound like ATMs are everywhere. They're easy to find. That is a load of crap, okay? They're not easy to find. They're not all over the place. They are out there. You want to go find the banks. The banks will have them. That's your best bet. But I would say is bring your cash when you come. Also, if you're coming from Europe or Australia and stuff like that, I have not seen very many exchange houses when I've been here. So don't bring anything else except for US dollars when you're going to come here. Well, also, I guess what I should probably talk about when I'm talking about money is also another don't for Belize is don't think Belize is like Latin America, Central America cheap, because it's not. I found that Belize is kind of like comparable to Costa Rica in prices. It's a little bit on the more expensive side for Latin America. It's not cheap like Nicaragua or Panama or Guatemala or anything like that. So do have a heads up for it that you're going to be spending a bit more money than you might expect when you do come here to Belize, especially if you're going to be out here on the Keys, because I mean they're islands, so that's going to jack up the price some too. And my last don't for you is don't forget the seasons here in Belize. Look, the biggest rainiest part is probably September, October, or the rainiest part of the year. But hurricane season is June through November here. And the big tourist season is actually December through March and maybe April when you are here. So obviously December through March are going to be your highest prices. April, I think April, May are like the hottest of the months, so you have that. So just to give you a heads up. But honestly, we've had a really great time here. We've been inland, we've been on the coast, we've been here in the Keys. It's just been a really great experience here in Belize. So I hope that helps you know a bit more about Belize. So if you do come here, you can have a great time. Anywhere you're going to go, there's going to be good foods, there's going to be interesting foods, and there's going to be knock your sock off foods, right? And probably the thing you're going to start off with here in Belize, if you're on the coast, you're on the Keys, you're on the coastline, the beaches, it's the seafood. I mean, it is fantastic here. But I will say, the one that really knocked our socks off was the grilled lobster. Oh my God, like, could I have some more grilled lobster, please? And another one, and another one, and another one. It is so good. So you do have that, but there's all kinds of other seafood you can enjoy when you're here. There's plenty of different fish when you're here to try. I had a barracuda steak the other night, which was really good. You got fillets, all kinds of really good fish that you're gonna have when you are here. Also, if you're here on the Keys and you're going snorkeling, you'll see a lot of conch shells. Well, guess what? All those times they stabbed you in the toes when you were snorkeling and stuff like that, this is your chance to get them back, because they make really good conch fritters here you're gonna have, which is also really good. And honestly, anything with shrimp, you might have a coconut curry shrimp or different kind of shrimp dishes and stuff like that, all kinds of really good stuff. So the seafood is definitely a must when you're here. Now, you're also gonna see, for the second thing you're gonna eat here, is there's actually some non-seafood things you're gonna have, because if you go inland especially, you're gonna have some really good stewed meats. And for me, it's the stewed chicken. I mean, the stewed chicken here is awesome. It like fall off the bone good. Oh, it is so good. And the thing is, you might have jerk chicken as well when you're here, another option, especially on the Caribbean side of Belize, which is really good. But also I'd say is you're gonna see a lot of grilled meats as well, going along with this kind of meat theme. And one of the things you'll see is they love their barbecue here. You'll see people out having their grills out, and they'll just make an outdoor barbecue and sell food from there, which actually makes for a lot cheaper alternative than going into a restaurant, especially if you're going to be like in San Pedro or here in Caye Caulker where there's a lot of tourism. Those outdoor bars and grills kind of stuff really can save your bank quite a bit and also give you a nice little full tummy while you're at it. You know, the thing you should know about the stewed chicken and the barbecue and just pretty much anything you have when you are here, the third thing you're really going to have when you are here is rice and beans. Yes, plain old rice and plain old beans, you'll have those together, or you might have beans and rice, which actually is two different dishes. So you might have stewed beans with coconut rice and stuff like that. That's actually really good by itself. I know Liam has enjoyed that. He's like, you know, I'm good. I don't need any lobster. I just want my rice and beans. And he's been super happy. And if you're a vegetarian, the fruit here is amazing. You have amazing fruit juices. We've got great watermelon juice, papaya juice, orange juice, all kinds of great stuff you will have, and so that's really a nice thing. Now, the next thing I recommend you have when you do come here is you see some of these outdoor stands and stuff like that, if they have salbutes and ganaches. If you're not sure what those are, if you know what a tostada is, it's like, you know, the flat fried corn shell, and they put lettuce and stuff on top of it. They have those here too, but these are actually a smaller version of that. If you have the garnaches, they're a small fried corn tortilla, and they'll put shredded, well, first it's beans, right? Like refried beans kind of stuff, then shredded cabbage and shredded onion on there. That's really good. And the salbutes are a little bit different. It's a different like shell on the bottom kind of stuff, and that's got a little more stuff to it. You're gonna have maybe some shredded chicken on there, some jalapeno, of course, the beans, a little cheese. Oh my God, these things are like your morning wake up snack or afternoon snack or hangover snack, or just because, oh my God, they're so good, I'm going to eat them snack, okay? So speaking of tasty snacks, if you're gonna be in one of those places that might have those, there's another thing you want to try. It's called a fry jack. If you're not sure what a fry jack is basically they take dough, you know, they flatten it out and then they throw it in a fryer and let it fry up, and it actually puffs up, and it is so good. And you can have it like, my favorite is just having it with cinnamon honey. Oh, Jenny's here in Caye Caulker. She does a great job. Check her out. Sarah, I said hi. They have that, or you can get it maybe with eggs and ham in it, or beans and eggs in there for breakfast, or you can have all kinds of cheese or stuff like that put into it, so you might fold it up into it. But that's one of those things that I really like when I've been here, and I've had it here, I've had it up inland in San Ignacio and other places, so that's kind of like a nice breakfast thing to have when you're here, but also a nice thing to have anytime when you are here in Belize. Now, the next thing I should probably talk about are the drinks when you're here, and you're going to see, if you're looking for adult beverages, Belican is like the only beer you find throughout the country. You'll notice they have like usually a little napkin in it. Just wipe off your lid before you drink. That's what I recommend. Also, if you have glass bottles of Coke or Fanta, the red Fanta here, it's awesome. It's like Inca Cola from Peru. It's really good. But you want to wipe off the glass bottle tops, okay? Just have eyes for that one. But for like other alcoholic drinks, there's tons and tons of rum drinks, because there's rum's like a local drink here, so you have a lot of different opportunities to have mixed drinks make with the local rum. Can't go wrong with that. For non-alcoholic drinks, you're gonna see a lot of fruit juices, like I said before, and those are always my go-to. Like breakfast everywhere we've had, the papaya juice and watermelon juice, because that's what's in season while we're here now, has been great. But whatever the drink is, whatever is popular, whatever fruit is popular at that time, have the seasonal juice when you're here. And I know for some travelers, they worry about, can I drink the water in Belize? Yes, you can drink the water in Belize, like you brush your teeth, no problem. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not very tasty. Go buy water and have that. I know the hotel we're staying at here, they give us bottles of water every day to make sure. So if you're especially on the Keys, bottled water is the best way to go, but you're not gonna get sick from brushing your teeth or anything like that, so don't worry. Some other things I want to tell you about when you do go out to eat here, you do need to have a lot of patience. It takes a while to get seated, it takes a while to get your order in, it takes a while to get your food, it takes a while to get your bill, and you need to ask each time. But the thing is, the people here are super friendly, so it's not like you don't need to get upset. Just remember, go slow. Just go slow here in Belize, okay? You have that kind of nice feel, and so just remember to have some patience when you're ordering. If you want to pay, cash is best. They take US dollars or Belize dollars here. It's no problem whatsoever. It's 2 to 1, 2 Belize for 1 US. If you want to pay with credit cards at restaurants, like nicer restaurants, they will take it. I have seen some places will charge you a fee in order to use the credit card, so have a heads up for that one if it's the price a bit more than what they said it would be, just for that one. But what I'd say is what we found is you have restaurants all over. You can do those things, no problem. The local Belizean restaurants, 4 walls, the kitchen, it's just kind of a good thing. But if you're going here on the beaches or you're going to be out and you see people grilling out and stuff like that and the locals eating there, go check that out, because I guarantee the person cooking is going to be funny, the person serving you is going to be nice and sweet, and the food is going to be fantastic. So whether you're having the kind of jerk chicken here in the Caribbean or the stewed chicken up in the mountains, or you're going to have any of the seafood, especially the grilled lobster, you will enjoy eating here in Belize. So there's one thing you really need to know is they love their Marie Sharp's hot sauce here in Belize. No matter what you have, whether it's fried lobster here with coconut, or if you're having anything, they love this stuff. So this is one of the things you're going to eat when you're here. Is definitely having some Marie Sharp's hot sauce, okay? So enjoy.
I have this lovely grilled lobster. Oh. In the States, we would steam them, which y'all like. Oh my gosh. Grilled spices. Are you making fun of me?
No.
It's so good. Come here, baby. Bring your mouth. Tell me it's not awesome. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, the first thing that shocks a lot of tourists when they come here is they speak English. Look, I'm not saying, a lot of people speak English, or in the tourism industry, people speak English. No. The official language of Belize is English. All the signs you see all over the country are in English. You want to have miles per hour? They have that here. It's crazy. You're like, oh my gosh, it's Latin America where they speak English. It's one of those really interesting kind of things. It's actually, this used to be called British Honduras, and Belize only got its independence in 1981 from Great Britain, so you have a lot of British influences here, including the language. So it makes it a lot easier for people to actually come and visit. If you're not sure about your Spanish or your Mayan or whatever, you can be just fine. Now, if you speak Spanish, it's okay. Most people speak English and Spanish, and you'll hear some Creole when you're here, kind of like a Spanglish kind of thing. You will hear that occasionally, but English, you'll be totally fine. So for a lot of people, it's kind of shocking how easy it is to really get around and do everything here because you understand the language just fine. Now, the second thing that kind of shocks people, though, is they think, British influence in the English and stuff like that, so it's going to be quite British, and it's going to be quite refined, and it's going to be on time and stuff like that. Oh, no. The second thing that's going to shock you when you come to Belize is you got to be on island time. Even if you're not on the Keys, on the islands, you're going to be on island time because everything takes a little bit longer when you are here. And that's okay. I mean, you're here to relax. I mean, Belize is perfect for relaxing, okay? The people are chillax, the food takes a while to eat and enjoy and stuff like that. The beer's ice cold. You'll enjoy relaxing, but you got to realize, when you're ordering your food, when you're getting sat down at a restaurant, when you're waiting for your food, when you're getting your bill, stuff like that, when you're waiting for service, it's island time. So just go, as they say here in Caye Caulker, go slow, because you have to, otherwise you'll go crazy. And I know for a lot of tourists that can be tough the first few days, but believe me, after a few days, you're totally used to it. Like, you eventually flag down the waitress, order a couple beers, hop in the water for a while, come back out, and then they arrive, okay? So that's another thing to know about, all right? Now, when you are ordering those conch fritters, or you're getting a fried jack, or you're getting yourself the Pelican beer, or stuff like that, or anything made with rum, another thing that shocks tourists is you pay in US dollars here, or you can pay in US dollars here. Look, Belize has its own currency, the Belizean dollar, okay? But the thing is, it's pegged to the US dollar 2 to 1, and you'll see prices in Belizean money, so it'll be like 20, but you can just pay with a $10 bill, no problem. You can interchange them, no big deal, which is really awesome. And let me tell you, as a tourist, I know in a lot of the online things and a lot of the books, they say, there's ATMs all over the place. No, there's not. sometimes it's hard to find ATMs and stuff like that, especially if you're going to be going out and about and seeing some of the Mayan ruins. I mean, you're going snorkeling, come on, there's nothing out there, but you do have those things. So bring some US cash when you come here. If you're coming from Europe or other places that don't use US dollars, I mean, you're going to need to get some US dollars, because I have not seen very many exchange places at all when you're here. So know that. But hey, paying in US dollars, so much easier. You don't have to worry about it. But Belize money, Belize dollars, you'll be fine too, no big deal. That's what comes out of the ATM. But hey, I just took out some money before I came here in the US and just spent US dollars when I was here. You will get your change back in Belizean money sometimes, and sometimes in US dollars if they have it. So you do have that, okay? Now, another thing I should talk about with the money is, you're gonna be shocked when you come here that Belize, though it's in Central America, for those of you who don't know, Belize is sandwiched kind of between Guatemala and Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. I mean, it's gorgeous here, and it's beautiful, and the people are awesome, but you have this Latin American vibe when you're here. But the thing is that shocks people is, you don't have Latin American pricing when you come to Belize. I'm not gonna lie to you, Belize is more expensive than pretty much anywhere else I've been in Central America, okay? Now, and the reason some of that is if you're going to go to the Keys, like here in Caye Caulker, or go to San Pedro and stuff like that, is it's islands, okay? So you're going to have the upcharge, because you have to bring everything here. But what I have noticed is, you know, eating and the tours and the accommodation is more expensive than when we were in Nicaragua or Guatemala or Costa Rica, stuff like that. Well, maybe like Costa Rica prices, kind of like there, versus a Nicaragua or Guatemala, okay? So, and that especially goes for when you do tours when you're here, whether you're going to be going to the Mayan rooms near the Guatemalan border, or you're here on Caye Caulker and you're going to be taking snorkeling out or scuba diving out to the Blue Hole. It just feels that the tours cost more than they should. I mean, the tours are awesome here, and I'll talk about those later, but it just feels like they're a little higher price than they should be. Not that you're upset about the tours, it's just one of those things. It just is a bit more expensive than the rest of Latin America, or I'd say Central America specifically. Now, the next thing that shocks people when they come here is, I'll be honest with you, when you go snorkeling and scuba diving and go to the beach here, oh my God, the water, crystal clear, gorgeous. We're taking the water taxi in from Belize City over to here. You're like, oh my God, look at that water. My son's like, look, is that a school of fish? I'm like, yes, that is a school of fish. It's so cool. We're out here, I mean, seriously, straight behind us, we're in the water, and there's schools of fishes swimming around. So even if you got your kids and you want to go on one of the tours to go snorkeling, you can just hop in the water here and enjoy it. It's just gorgeous. But if you're a scuba person or a snorkeling person, pay for those tours. Go to the Blue Hole to see that if you want to see those things. If you want to see more wildlife, you might want to go to different places than the Blue Hole, but Blue Hole is one of those really cool places to see. But if you really see a lot of like sea life and wildlife and stuff like that, not probably the best one to go to, but there's all kinds of other stuff to see. You want to see manatees, you want to see the fish, you want to see sharks, rays. There's so many cool things to see. But when you're on the beaches here, the beaches are gorgeous, okay? And when you watch the sunrise on the beach, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. Or since there are keys out here, these islands, well, Belize is the mainland's behind me. You can watch the sunset here as well, and it's just gorgeous. So believe me, you want to hit the beaches when you're here, all right? It's just awesome, and do all the cool stuff that goes along with it. Now, the next thing that's going to shock you when you come here to Belize is when you go and see the Mayan ruins. Look, Belize has got like between 350,000 and 400,000 people here, give or take, with the tourists and stuff like that. But the thing is, back in the day, there was 1 million Mayans that lived here in Belize, and you have some really cool ruins scattered throughout the country, and it's really something you should check out when you are here. Caracol is probably the biggest one here in the country. You can go see that easily. There's a few more of them. I know there's one you go to, and we were at the ferry, and they like hand crank the ferry across for you to go up there to see the lookout point. I mean, it's just really kind of cool. And I'll be honest, if you're going to be staying in San Ignacio, okay, that's kind of like the base for like the adventure tourism and tube canyon or cave tubing and stuff like that. I'll talk about that later in the shocks. When you go there, you can actually go over to Guatemala for the day to go to Tikal. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is a huge Mayan complex with huge towers and huge temples and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they figured out there's probably like 10,000 structures there, and they have, you know, a few hundred uncovered now. I mean, it's just really amazing, and you can see how the jungle vegetation has climbed over the stuff, but you can see that in a lot of the ones here too. But Tikal can be an easy, like, oh, I want to go over to Guatemala for a bit. Very easy to get over there, but I shouldn't talk about that because this is about the shocks of Belize, so definitely check out the Mayan ruins here. They are very cool. Now, my next shock for you has to do with getting around, maybe getting to those Mayan ruins inland, which is gorgeous up there, by the way, or maybe it's coming here to the Keys. It's transportation in Belize. look, you're gonna fly into Belize City, which is not the capital, by the way, but you're gonna fly into Belize City, and you can just hire a driver to take you to St. Ignace if you wanna go do those things. If you wanna come here you can grab a water taxi, yeah, you can grab the water taxi, have a taxi, take you to the water taxi, they'll bring you here out to the Keys, or you can do a little flight over there. There's all kinds of different ways to get around, but I will say is when you're driving around, since there's so few people, it's pretty sparse when you're on the highway. Or the roads around here, and they will be pretty bumpy. Like I'm like talking boom, boom, boom. So be ready when you're taking your transportation around here, because it can be a bit like shaky and bumpy and all kinds of stuff. But when you do drive around, no matter where you go in the country, you have gorgeous views. Whether you're heading in inlands or you're heading on the water taxi here to Caye Caulker. I mean, one of the things that got me is when I got to here to Caye Caulker, they use golf carts as transportation. There's no cars here. And you're like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. So you have those things. So transportation around here can be pretty interesting. I will say if you transport on your feet when you are here doing the hikes, definitely be prepared for a lot of hiking and stuff like that. But it is kind of a cool thing. And my next shock for you has to do when you are walking around on your little footsies, and that is you can drink while you're walking around. Yes, if you're coming to the Keys and stuff like that, you'll see people walking with a drink all the time. Nobody giving it any troubles or anything like that. Yeah, because in Belize, technically you can walk around with a beer, you can walk around with a rum drink, because that's what you're gonna go for here, the rum. And the thing is, the only thing you need to know is don't have it in glass jars or glass bottles, okay? Have an aluminum can, you know, of beer or a drink, or just put it in a plastic cup and you'll be totally fine. That's the way you do it, so you can just totally relax. Because this place is, remember, go slow, relax, it's Belize, you're gonna have a nice time, just chillax. But it's really nice to chillax and go, hey, I can walk around with my drink, I don't have to leave it at the bar behind. Nope, you can have a good time with that. Now, when you're walking around with your drink, you may say, hey Mark, am I gonna be safe walking around with this drink? I mean, one of the biggest searches when I put Belize, the thing that comes up on Google is Belize safe, and safety in Belize, things like that. That is one thing that has shocked me, is how safe I felt here in Belize. And I'll be honest with you, Belize is pretty chillax here. The people are pretty chillax. So I say, hey, you wanna come to our, like the punters, the people try to get you into the restaurants and stuff like that. You're like, nah man, they're like, oh yeah, next time man, no worries. I mean, it's kind of like really laid back that way. And I have felt pretty safe here with my kids, which is really nice, which is different than if you look online and look at the crime numbers here. I mean, the crime levels here in Belize are really bad, but they'll tell you, oh, that's mostly Belize City or the southern part of Belize City, and it's true. And the thing is, a tourist, you're not going to stay in Belize City. You're going to come straight out here to the Keys and go enjoy out here, or you're going to head inland to like St. Ignace or some other places and enjoy those, because there's a lot of places to go that aren't in the crime part of the country. Now, having said, I feel really safe here. I will say there's some certain things, you know, the danger of the sun and the bugs, that's a big thing. When you're driving around, always have your seatbelt on. If you are going to be drinking with your buddies, do not go out late night by yourself. You know, always be going in a group, stuff like that. You know, basic travel safety stuff. I would have that. So I would say, though the statistics make Belize look unsafe, it's not as unsafe as you think, because it's not, you're not going to be going to those parts where those things happen, okay? So, but do pay attention. Now, for the 10th thing, I want to talk about the nature and all some of the cool like adventure stuff you can do, but we're going to go to St. Ignacio to finish this one off. So, bye from Caye Caulker. So here we are in St. Ignacio to finish off our 10 shocks. And the 10th thing that's going to shock you when you come here to Belize is the nature adventure tourism you can do. Look, we're here based in St. Ignacio. Good place to be based to do some of the cool stuff. Like, oh, have you ever thought of going tubing? Yeah, there's tubing. But have you ever done cave tubing? Oh yeah, you can do that here. Also, great base to go and see those Mayan ruins I talked about. You can see them here because they're right near the Guatemalan border. I mean, from Tikal, you can get easily from here, but that's in Guatemala. But the thing is, horseback riding, kayaking, canoeing, stuff like that. This is like, oh my God, there is so much outdoor adventure stuff to do. So you have kind of a nice mix. You can do the beaches on the Keys like I showed you, or you can be here in St. Ignacio and have like a laid back time and do adventure stuff during the day and then relax at night in some of the bars and restaurants here in town. And today what we have for you is what you should know before you come to Belize, so you can be better prepared, so you have a good time when you do come here. Because there's a lot of really cool stuff to see and do when you're here, from enjoying the second largest barrier reef in the world to the Mayan temples that are in the inland, all kinds of good stuff. There's a lot to see and do. But I've noticed there's not a lot of information to help tourists know what to expect when they come here. So that's what we want to kind of focus on in this video. First things first, some of you might be asking, where is Belize? So if you look on Mexico, you see where Cancun is, the Yucatan Peninsula. You follow down, you're going south down the coast there, next to Guatemala. So it's like Mexico is here, Guatemala is surrounding it. There's Belize, just this little tiny country. There's only like 350,000 people living here, maybe like 400,000 when there's tourists. It's a very small, very sparsely populated country. So that's something that you might want to know about, is that, hey, it's actually kind of not a ton of people that are here. And if you're going to come here, one thing that a lot of tourists want to know is, you know, what do they speak there in Belize? It's Spanish, right? Because it's Latin America, right? Or Central America. Well, actually, no. In Belize, they speak English. English is the official language. So the street signs and the miles per hour and stuff like that, it's all in English. The people speak English here. Now, a lot of people speak Spanish as well, or maybe a mix of English, like some Spanglish, let's say, a mix of English and Spanish and a Creole kind of thing. But English is the official language of Belize, so you'll be okay when you're here. That's one of the things that makes it kind of an easy journey for a lot of tourists when they come here, because they don't have to worry about the language barrier, because there really isn't any. So that's kind of a nice thing. And if you're also, one of the biggest barriers people have when they're going to go to a country they are not sure about might be, hey, do I need like a special visa to go to Belize? Well, if you're from the US or Canada or pretty much anywhere in Latin America or the European Union or Australia or New Zealand, no, you don't need a visa. You just need a normal passport that's valid for another 6 months after you're going to be here. You'll be fine, okay? So I want to get that out of the way first, all right? Now, whenever you're traveling around the world, you probably want to know is, hey, what money do I use when I'm going to be there? Well, here in Belize, they use the Belizean dollar. And what's cool about that is actually it's pegged 2 to 1 to the US dollar. So you can use US dollars anywhere throughout the country. I mean, you can mix Belizean dollars and US dollars. When you pay things, you might get change back that way as well. So that's kind of cool. So when you're going to come here, I will recommend you bring US dollars. Bring the cash. This is much more of a cash-based country than like credit card-based country. So have the cash. And if you can bring it, if you're coming from the US, just bring it with you. We brought about $1,000 cash for here when we were here for about a week, and we're using that no problem. I will tell you though, if you don't bring cash and you want to find an ATM, there are ATMs around the country. They're not super easy to find, but if you're going to be going to popular places like Hacienda or here in Caye Caulker or Belize City or San Ignacio, you can find the ATMs. They're just not always as easy to find. Also, you can use credit cards here, but Visa and MasterCard are the most popular ones. You may see them accepting American Express or something else, but it's Visa, MasterCard, and just know, if you pay with a credit card, they might put a fee on top of that. I know a place today, we did some tours, and it was actually a 12% add-on to the price for using a credit card. So just have a heads up for that when you come here. Now, in terms of the prices here in Belize, now, we spend a lot of times, like, I've got my Nicaragua, rum shirt on, and we've been, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Mexico, here in kind of Central America, Latin America stuff, and I find that Belize is probably the most expensive of Central America. I mean, maybe it's with Costa Rica, somewhere around there. You do find that the tours and the group stuff you do here seems to be a little more pricier than you think it's going to be. So do be ready for that. Now, it's not like insane expensive, okay? But it's just one of those things like, oh, it's a bit more than I thought. Where you're going to spend your money is if you come here to the Keys, like here in Caye Caulker, or you're going to San Pedro and stuff like that. Since they are islands, those will have higher prices for food and places to stay and stuff like that. But overall, I haven't found it too difficult when I'm here, so that's kind of nice. Now, another thing tourists always wonder about is, where am I going to stay when I'm traveling? Like, what's my accommodation options? Well, one thing I want to tell you, there's really no chain hotels here in Belize. So you're going to be going to individual hotels. So this is a country where doing your research on the TripAdvisors and the bookings will really pay off. And the thing is, a lot of times what you might do is actually be renting an apartment or a house from somebody. So look at those apartment rentals and things, because you can find some really good prices and some really cool places. But it's not as easy to find like if you're going to Cancun, where everything is listed and it's all like owned by some big property management company. No. Here in Belize, you really got to kind of search on your own to do that, which kind of turns off some tourists, but believe me, searching does make a difference, okay? But in terms of types of accommodation, there's small hotels, medium-sized hotels. They do have some luxury things here, a couple of resorts and stuff like that. But when you're going through the country, it's more kind of like a compound kind of hotel resort thing you might find. I know some ones we stayed at had their own restaurant and bar and pool and things like that. Other times, it's just a straight-up hotel kind of stuff. But, you have your usual kind of things. When you are staying at the hotels, some people always want to know is, Mark, how's the Wi-Fi in Belize? Like, am I going to be able to do all the stuff I want to online? I'm not gonna lie to you. Internet here in Belize, it is everywhere. You can get it, but it's not fast. Okay, you're not getting blazing fast internet, all right? Take my word for it. You can get your emails, you can check your Facebooks, you can upload your Instagram, no problem. There's all kinds of cool grams from here if you want to check us out on @woltersworld on Instagram. But the thing is, it is slow. Okay. Another thing I want to tell you, if you're looking at your mobile phones, you'll notice that the 4G shows up on your phone almost everywhere in the country, which is really great. But I will tell you that 4G will give you the phone and texting, but it doesn't always give you the data transfer of a 4G when you're going around the country. So if you're going to be, you know, in Caye Caulker and you're going to be, you know, at the Mayan ruins, you want to post some of those things, they might not show up until you go back to your hotel and post from there. Okay. So if you're going to be doing some streaming and stuff like that, it's not going to work so well when you're here, so do have a heads up for that one. Another thing I always like to know is, what are the plugs like in the countries? Well, if you didn't know, Belize used to be called British Honduras, okay? So you think, oh, it's a former British colony. Do they have the plugs like in Britain? No, they do not. Belize has the US 2 plugs like this kind of thing. Most of the time, we'll even have the third prong in the bottom, but not everywhere, so do be careful, you know, in case you're going to be coming here. I mean, if you got your phone and your laptop and stuff like that, they might only have the 2 flat prongs. You'll be fine. The third one sometimes can be iffy, but if you're in a nicer hotel or even a medium-sized hotel, you'll be fine. A place like Caye Caulker or Placienda or San Pedro or San Ignacio, you should be fine, okay? But do have a heads up for that. Now, when you are at your hotel, you might want to know, as Mark, when can I see those beautiful sunrises on the water or the sunsets over the bay? Well, here in Belize, we're kind of getting nearer to the equator. So sunrise is like 5:36, sunset's 5:36, pretty much every day throughout the year. So you do have that. And the country kind of revolves around that. So this isn't like a late night kind of place. You know, restaurants and bars do close a lot earlier than you probably expect. I mean, except if you're like tourist areas, it's going to be a little better. But if you're going to be exploring more of the countryside, I mean, it might be that, you know, stores are going to close at 5 and the restaurant might close at 9 and stuff like that. So do have a heads up. So I do recommend eating earlier. And if you're going to have some drinks, maybe have some drinks earlier as well. And so I guess if you're going to go out to eat and drink, you probably want to know is, what should I eat when I'm there? Well, what's cool is here in Belize, you have the coast here, the Caribbean. So you got the Caribbean influence. So you got some really great food, like the grilled lobster when it's in season. Oh my God, it's so good. Conch fritters, so nice. If you haven't had those, you know, the conch shells, the thing inside, they cook those up and put them in a fritter. It is so good. You can have fried jacks, which is basically dough fried and then they'll stuff stuff inside of it. That's really a good thing you want to have when you're here. If you want to have more of like inland kind of stuff, you're gonna have a lot of rice and beans, or there's rice and beans and rice. There's 2 different ways. Sometimes it's stewed, sometimes it's not, but that's a popular thing. And I would go with the stewed chicken. On the coast, you have like jerk chicken kind of stuff with a little spiciness, but you'll have the stewed chicken more inland, but you'll have them both places too, but it's really, really good, like fall off the bone stuff. Barbecue is really popular here as well. You'll have that. So you will have that. One thing I will tell you, if you're going to be getting like sodas or beer, Belican, you'll notice they'll put napkins inside all the bottles. Use that napkin to wipe it around, just to clean off the bottle. Just letting you know you should do that, okay? Now, in terms of the seasons here in Belize, I mean, it's a little windy right now, but we're here in the spring. It's February, and we're having a great time, okay? And the seasons you want to come, here's kind of the seasons. From June until November is hurricane season. So probably maybe not your best time to go, okay? But the really rainy season is like probably September, October, when it's the most rainiest. So there is that. But probably the most popular time for people to come, the high season, is from December through probably March. That's your really big time. That's when the prices are going to be the highest. The weather's going to be the best. When we were out snorkeling today, you can see I got some sun. It was just a really fantastic experience. So you do have those times to come here. Now, when you are here, you might wonder, Mark, how am I going to get around the country? Or how do I even get there? Well, you're probably going to fly into Belize City. There's a lot of U.S. air carriers that actually fly into Belize City. Very easy to do. The airport is kind of small, so it might take you a little time to go through passport control and go out customs and stuff like that. It's not too bad, but that's your main airport when you're going to be coming here. When you're going to go around the country, it's very easy to hire private drivers, and they're not too expensive. That's what we've actually done most of the time. But we've talked to people that have rented cars that are here, and since the country is so sparsely populated, you don't have a lot of traffic and stuff like that to worry about. So it's not that hard to drive around. I mean, there's only like 350,000 people here, so it's not like you're finding a lot of traffic and stuff. But I will say the roads are bumpy. They're sleeping policemen, or the speed bumps here. I mean, they're like a couple feet off the ground, so you want to make sure you take those slow because they'll break your axle and your back. So do have a heads up for that. But if you want to do public transportation, you've got buses that go all around the country. You have like normal kind of Pullman buses, and then you have like the chicken buses, you know, the old US school buses. You can take those too. Those are your cheapest options to go around, and they're easy to do. If you want to come out here to the Keys and stuff like that, there's a ferry that'll come out here. We actually use the water taxi from Belize City here to Caye Caulker that also go to San Pedro. It's easy enough to do, so you don't have too much of a problem with that, okay? So you do have those things. If you're looking to get taxis, negotiate the price before you get in just so you feel more comfortable and have that. Also, you can ask your hotel to book one for you and they'll tell you how much it should be, and that's what's nice. Because that's one of the things. The people here in Belize are actually super friendly, and they do have this kind of like go slow, relaxed kind of attitude. I mean, there's a lot of island time kind of stuff when you're here, which can frustrate people, but it shouldn't. The people are super friendly, they're super nice, they want to talk to you and chat with you, so that's really kind of a cool thing when you are here. And the thing is, I know a lot of people get worried when I say, oh, we're going to Belize. They're like, wait, where is that and is it safe? Well, in terms of safety, I really think that Belize is actually a pretty safe place. Yes, it does have some kind of high crime numbers for like, in Belize City, but as a tourist, you're not really going to Belize City. You're going to be here on the Keys, like Caye Caulker and stuff like that, or San Pedro, Placienda, or you're going to go to San Ignacio and you're going to go visit the Mayan ruins that are up there, which are really cool. Or in San Ignacio too, that's where you have a lot of adventure kind of stuff, like, oh, you want to go tubing through the caves? They have that as well. So that's really kind of a cool thing. So there's tons of stuff to do when you're here. And we've actually brought our kids here. We did snorkeling out here on the Keys. And even my son, who can't really swim, he could snorkel too there. They gave him a little life vest and stuff. It's a really great experience. So I really do recommend people actually coming here because it's easy. The English makes it a lot easier for a lot of people. It's not as dangerous as people think, and the people are super nice, and oh my god, the grilled lobster is to die for. First things first, Caye Caulker is a very popular destination for a lot of travelers. Not as popular as San Pedro, which is probably the more developed of the Keys you want to go to. So if you want like more of the big resorts, you want to go to San Pedro. Caye Caulker, like they like to say, it's more of the backpackers kind of one. It's the more affordable one, but honestly, it's just as gorgeous as all the other ones, and we've really enjoyed our time here. We've been here for 4 nights, and I think we've got some ideas we should share with you. First thing you need to know is, you might ask, like, Mark, how do we get to Caye Caulker? Well, you can take the ferry to come in, but what we recommend is taking the water taxi. They start about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and they go until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they leave from Belize City, okay? So if you're gonna fly into the airport, if you're gonna be coming in the afternoon, you're probably gonna need to stay in Belize City for the night and then take a morning water taxi over here, because they don't have them in the evening, okay, in the night, okay? So you wanna do that. The water taxi takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get here. It's pretty calm water. It's pretty nice. You get some beautiful views while you're there. If there's any threat of rain at all, please sit on the bottom part, because if you're on the top, you will get wet. Very, very wet, okay? Now, if you have suitcases when you're coming here, which you probably will, they will take them. You'll do the same kind of check them in at the boat when you're getting there, and their whole service, and then you'll get them when you get off the boat. The thing is when you're getting on in Belize City, even if you buy your tickets online beforehand, you're probably going to have to go get in line to go get a printed off version of your ticket instead of just the online one, okay? Because I bought mine, I had to pay through PayPal, I had the email, I had to show them, they gave it to me, so just have a heads up for that. Now, when you're here, what you need to know is the town has no cars. If you need a taxi or to get around, there's actually golf carts that take you around anywhere. So if you do have a lot of luggage, when you come in on the water taxi, there'll be plenty of people there waiting to ask you, hey, do you need a taxi, do you need a ride? You can take one of them, it's no problem. However, I will say is Caye Caulker is pretty small, so you can walk wherever you want to go. Now, having said Caye Caulker is small, one thing you should know is in the middle of Caye Caulker, there's this thing called the Split, because a hurricane came through and kind of broke the island in two, and they've dredged it so boats can go through. And so you kind of have like the North Island and the South Island, okay? The North Island, that one's a little more complicated to get to because it doesn't have the water tax and stuff like that. If you're going up there, there's a resort up there that will take you from the south part of Caye Caulker up there for free if you spend $30 in food and stuff like that up there. So that's kind of like a turnoff. So do have a heads up that you pay attention where your hotel is or where your B&B is or stuff like that. Because if you're on the north side, it can be a little tough to get to. Okay, so I want to have a heads up for that. Now, we're staying on the south side of it. The south side is split, so like Lazy Lizard's right up the road from us. And when you're here looking for accommodation, now there are a ton of hostels here. That's why backpackers love this place. There's a ton of hostels. Not all of them are super nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, these aren't like the hostels I would want to stay in, but I'm a little bit of an older person. You know, back in my day, I probably could have survived it just fine because it's kind of a cool, laid-back place. But there are a lot of apartment rentals and hotels here, but they're small ones. And you're gonna have to do your search for them because they might not be on bookings or TripAdvisor and stuff like that. So you really need to search Caye Caulker bed and breakfast, Caye Caulker hotel, things like that. And some of the hotels only have 3 or 4 rooms in them, okay? And so what that means is if you're gonna be coming here during busy season from December through like April, it's going to be packed, okay? Like, especially through March, I guess. You want to make sure you're booking way in advance. Like, we were booking months in advance, and we had a tough time finding the place we did find, okay? And we ended up having to get 2 hotel rooms, one for, Caleb and I, one for Jocelyn and Liam, because we couldn't find a place that would take all of us. So do have a heads up for that. Now, when you're here, the food is fantastic, okay? Grilled lobster. Just remember that. Grilled lobster. It's awesome. You will definitely want to have that when you're here. Another thing you'll see is conch fritters. So the conch shells, that you'll see out, you see the white line back there? That's the barrier reef. Second largest barrier reef in the world, okay? You'll see all kinds of conch shells out there. Well, you know what? If you step on one, it kind of hurts. Well, you get to get them back by having some conch fritters, fried up conch and some other stuff together. Oh my God, it is so good when you're here. There's tons and tons of seafood you're going to eat when you're here. We've had barracuda, all kinds of different fish, but also you have like a very much Caribbean vibe to the food. So you might have jerk chicken or something like that. So you'll eat very well when you're here. And what's cool is they have the restaurants, which I find are much more pricey than if you go along the beach and you'll see people like just grilling out on the beach and having a little like stand where there's like, oh yeah, you can have the chicken or you can have the coconut shrimp or the butter shrimp with rice and stuff like that, and a drink, you can have that. And I find those to be cheaper than going into the restaurants, okay? Now, when you do come here, what you need to realize, in general, Belize is more expensive than the rest of Latin America in terms of my perspective. And the thing is, on the Keys, since they're islands, everything has to be brought here. So everything here is more expensive than you think it's going to be, whether it's beer, whether it's food, whether it's accommodation. So don't think this is going to be a super like backpack cheap place. I mean, it's not bad like for prices, but just, be ready for that. And when you are here, make sure you do have cash. I mean, there are some ATMs in the city. There's a couple ATMs there, you can get money out, but I like to bring my money with me if you're going to be coming here. And remember, here in Belize, they take US dollars and Belize dollars, and Belize dollars to US dollars pegged. 2 Belize for 1 US. So you can go and pay in US dollars, no problem. I just bought a bunch of US cash with me and just did that. Now, in terms of safety kind of stuff, I feel pretty safe here. I mean, it's an island. Everybody knows everybody, so it's kind of okay that way. The only kind of stuff I might feel a little bit odd about is like walking around, a lot of people smoking some, not a lot, but enough people smoking dope, and some guys have had maybe a few too many to drink, some stuff like that, but nothing really too bad. But always any place you're going to go, you always want to pay attention. Use your usual, travel sense when you're there. Use the hotel safe if you have it. Don't carry too much cash with you, things like that. But in general, you're okay. Now, if you're looking for things to do when you're here, I mean, drinking and having a good time is a big thing. But also, the big thing is taking some of the tours here. Look, if you want to go to the Blue Hole and go scuba diving or snorkeling there, you can sign up and take a tour from here. But if you want something that's quicker, that doesn't involve like a 2-hour boat ride out, you can actually go out to the reef out there, the barrier reef, and you can take a tour, and they'll take you out to swim along it. They'll take you to the shark and ray alley where the sharks and rays swim by you and stuff like that, and swim along the coral. That was really cool. My youngest, he doesn't swim very well. They put a little life vest on him, and he got to snorkel. For like 45 minutes, he was swimming around seeing stuff. He got to get in the water with all these things. It's really easy to do, so definitely take one of the tours that takes you out snorkeling or scuba diving or something like that. Another thing you'll see when you are here is there's a lot of different tour companies. Make sure you're asking what that tour company focuses on, because some of them are more focused towards like family and educational ones or eco ones, and other ones are focused more on party ones. I met one of our fans, actually, a nice guy from Canada, Blake. He was here, and he had come to the island and done a scuba tour, and then they finished with unlimited rum drinks. So it was focused more on younger people. So he'd had a few, and he'd had a good time. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm like, man, if I was back in my 20s, I'd probably enjoy that too. The one we went on was more eco-focused, so it was more like, hey, we want to show you this stuff. Here's the animals. Here's how they live. Don't touch the coral. Make sure you're not doing those things. Stuff like that. That is something you should know if you're going to go out to the barrier reef. Don't touch the coral. Don't swim over the coral either, because if a wave comes up and smashes you down, you're going to be in a lot of pain. There are some really cool, we saw barracuda, we saw eels, we saw all kinds of crazy fish. I mean, it was really cool. It was really cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It was really cool doing that. So you have those things. Other things you can do. You can go kayaking. There's plenty of places to swim around here. It is really a nice laid back kind of thing. And that's one thing I should tell you is you got to remember their model for Caye Caulker is go slow. Just go slow. You have to go slow here. You got to take your time. It might take you a day or 2 or 3 to like force yourself to slow down, but you really need to, because then you'll really enjoy this town, okay? So I think that's some things you might want to know. There's a bunch of little mini markets if you want to stock up your fridge at your apartment or your hotel. When you're here, that can be helpful. In terms of the bathrooms that are here, the bathrooms here, you cannot throw the toilet paper down into the toilet. You need to throw it in the garbage can that's next to the toilet because the systems can't handle it. The water, drink bottled water. I mean, you can brush your teeth with the water, no problem, but make sure you're drinking the bottled water when you are here. A lot of the hotels actually give you bottled water each day, so that's kind of a nice thing. So I have a heads up for that. So overall, I mean, we've had a really great time here at Caye Caulker. I know this is just a short little video to give you some top little points. A lot of stuff we actually cover in our Don'ts of Belize video. 10 things that'll shock you about Belize videos, what to eat in Belize videos. We've got a lot of stuff to help you out with those things, but you will have a nice time. And in terms of food, like I said, you'll enjoy everything you have when you're here. Is Belize safe to visit? And I'll be honest, in our experiences here, whether you've been inland or on the Keys, we have found it pretty safe. And the thing is, when you look at the statistics, it makes it look like Belize is this totally unsafe place, like, oh, I should never go there. But in all honesty, most of the crime is happening in Belize City and certain parts there. And for a tourist, it's not really going to be an issue for you. So if that's going to keep you from coming here, don't let it keep you from coming here. Now, there are some safety things you should think about when you are coming here, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. But in general, I mean, we felt safe enough that we brought our kids here. Our kids are talking about let's come back here and visit again because we've had such a nice time. So obviously, it's not too bad, okay? Now, I will say, though, there's probably 2 things that are probably going to get you the most when you are here. 1, the bugs. Yes, you're going to need to bring your bug spray, okay? And 2, the sun. I mean, even if you have your sunblock, remember, we're close to the equator down here, and your 15s and 30 SPF sunblocks are not going to cut it, okay? I'm using 50, so I'm doing okay here. Missed a spot on my neck, but that sucks, believe me. But yeah, we're using 50 and 70 on our faces. Make sure you reapply often. That's really like your most dangerous thing you're gonna have. And where I've actually seen like a lot of people getting the sunburn the worst isn't at the beaches and stuff like that. It's when they go to the Mayan ruins like Caye Caulker, and you're gonna go there and walk around. Well, it's all open because you want to see the temples, you want to see all these things, and then they get burned that way. So make sure you're lathering up on your bug spray and your sunblock when you're going to see the ruins as well, okay? Some other safety things I would worry about is if you're going to be driving around the country, the roads are very bumpy, very bumpy. So if you're going to be driving, make sure you use your 2 hands when you're going to drive. So do be careful with that. Also, a lot of the roads get closed off for construction and things like that randomly. So have the GPS kind of stuff going to help you out, not your phone one, but a GPS for your rental car. Because though you'll have 4G pretty much everywhere in the country, it doesn't always work to send the data. Okay, so your calls will work and your texts will work, but your internet kind of stuff and your GPS kind of stuff won't. So have a dedicated GPS device that will track you when you are driving. That's going to make things a lot easier. Another thing you might see is when you go around Belize, you're like, why are people walking around with their drinks with them? Well, you can actually walk around with your alcohol here in Belize, so it's not really a big deal. Just no glass bottles. It's got to be in like a can or a plastic cup. And the thing is, that kind of gets me thinking about, dangers when you're out late nights. I mean, just like anywhere, okay? You don't just go out late night and drink yourself into oblivion. You do need to be careful with that when you are here in Belize, especially in the bigger cities. So make sure you moderation, or make sure you're always going out with a group at night and stuff like that. And obviously, if it looks like a bad part of town or a street you might not want to go down, don't go down it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward with those things. Now, some other things that could be dangerous, especially if you have little kids when you're here, is if you're going to be going into like the jungle part or up near the Guatemalan border to see some of the ruins there, do some of the tube caving and some of the really cool like outdoor stuff you can do here, because you can do some really cool outdoor stuff, just letting you know, snorkeling, all kinds of stuff. But if you're going to be going up there, you want to make sure you're watching out. Now, they'll say, oh, there's jaguars out there. There are jaguars out there. They come out in the evening, so have a heads up for that. But there's not too many of them, so that's not a big deal. But there's their version of a raccoon you'll see here. That's one that a lot of kids will go up to, go, oh, look how cute it is, and it'll get you, okay? So when you see them, like if you're going to be going to the ruins, they might be wandering through. Make sure you stay away from them. Though they're adorable, and you're like, oh, I want to pet him. No, do not, okay? Stay away from them. Also, there are a few venomous snakes here, but I mean, our guys we were with are like, yeah, there's like one, but we never see it or anything like that, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But just have a heads up if you're going to be doing hikes and things like that. Stay with your guide, pay attention with them, those kind of things. And the last safety thing I'm going to say is about with the snorkeling and the scuba diving. If you're not like really comfortable with the scuba diving, or you're not really comfortable with the snorkeling and stuff like that, when you do sign up for the tours, make sure you let them know so they don't take you to an area that might be unsafe for you or a little bit more advanced than you want to do. I mean, it's usually not an issue. I mean, believe me, they have different levels, like, oh, only for master divers and stuff like that. But just have a heads up, because you're like, oh, I want to go snorkeling. Well, be honest about your swimming abilities and the people that are with you, because that can be another safety thing. And some of the tours will always like have snorkeling or scuba diving, and then you might have some rum afterwards. Make sure to keep the rum and the drinking after the snorkeling, after the scuba diving, not before, okay? Because that could be a big problem.